How we doing, everybody?
Hey everyone.
Oh, I clicked the right thing there. I almost pushed the wrong button to start the show.
You got the sound going?
Yeah, I almost clicked the wrong one. We almost had an audio issue.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway, good thing I didn't screw it up. Because I never screw things up, actually. That's a known fact about me. I never make mistakes.
As you guys notice, we're one day early. That's because we have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of people will have doctor's appointments this weekend to go see the new Doctor Strange movie, Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Should be pretty awesome.
Spoilers are making their way out there. I've seen some stuff online already, so if you're trying to stay away from spoilers, stay off of your local groups are probably all right, but your international groups or your Instagram, whatever, stay away.
Yeah, I saw a few places saying that no spoilers as well. We will definitely have no spoilers for, like we always do for the big ones, couple weeks at least. But let's get started. Let's jump right in. I don't know, you want to start reviewing books right away? You want to talk about Spectro a little bit? There is a little bit of an announcement to make about Spectro.
Yeah, I've got Spectro up here with us already, so we might as well talk about that. Nothing huge. The book is just pushed back a week.
Yeah, from the 18th to the 25th.
Yeah, not a huge issue. Well, actually, it's a decently sized issue, but it's not a big deal.
No pun intended.
Yeah. But yeah.
If anyone hasn't got one yet, no, it's a wicked cover by Michael Berglund. He busted his butt on that, and I think it turned out well. Like I said, there is the copy you see there, and there's the Virgin one as well. No, it is like Tyler kind of mentioned there, it is the large, deluxe format prestige size that they have there from Aftershock. So I hope you guys want to check it out. All right, let's get into the books.
Yeah, well, today is May the 4th, so May the 4th be with everyone. I was thinking even if we did the show tomorrow, Revenge of the 5th would have worked too. I figured because it is May the 4th, and because I've gotten so much in the last few days, I'd show off what I've gotten for Star Wars stuff. So this is one of the books that we've been covering, so this one, I'll hold off on that one. But new this week, 3 new Star Wars omnibus this week. Actually, I think one might be for next week, and it came in early.
Is that called omnibuy then? Is that the plural form for omnibuses?
I think it's like a flock or a gaggle of omnibus.
Not a murder?
No, definitely not a murder. So first, Star Wars The Empire. That's a bunch of the Dark Horse stuff that takes place after Episode 3, sort of in what used to be called the Dark Times, so between Episode 3 and 4. Not one coherent story, there's actually bits and pieces from a bunch. Really nice, and you get, unlike what Disney has now, where it's one standard art style they use, unless it's an annual or something, they switch it up. This one, since there's so many, is a bunch of different art styles, a bunch of different writers, creative teams. So each issue, or I guess each little mini run that's in it, between 3 and 5 issues, is actually like a very different flavor. Next, also Darth Vader themed, is the not second volume, but second part in the Darth Vader series. That is the Darth Vader, which covers just Darth Vader Volume 1. And typically, omnibuses seem to cover things chronologically. So the one that came out before was actually a bit of Volume 2, but that was also just happened to be after Episode 3. And this is the first appearance of Dr. Aphra, and the annual number 1 with the first appearance of Chrysanthemum. So for stuff that's unobtainable, the $100 price tag on it, not bad for just trying to read it. Really good series, this one. I've actually got all the raw copies. And then Star Wars Volume 2. It's called Volume 2. It's when Disney first picked it up. Star Wars by Jason Aaron. And this covers the first 37 issues and annuals 1 to 3, Vader Down number 1, and Vader 13, 14, 15, and Aphra 7 and 8, and the Screaming Citadel 1. Because they all cross over during that Vader Down storyline. And one of the best Star Wars crossovers they've done. They did it across, I think, not even, maybe 3 months or something. Handled much better than Crimson Reign was. And that is the Brooks cover too, because I prefer that one. That's actually used in that's actually a Darth Vader cover, strangely enough, on the Star Wars book. Yeah, and that's it for Star Wars stuff. I've picked up a bunch of other stuff. I don't know if you can quite see it behind. No, it's behind the Daily Bugle back there. But yeah, the other part we'll cover when we get to the book, which we will just jump into straight away, I guess. So it's issue number 23 of Star Wars, and I wasn't originally going to cover this one because we're going to be covering ObiWan as well. But this issue, and I think I said it with another issue, I think it was Darth Vader a week or two ago, surprisingly dark for what they've been doing. Someone has sort of snuck up on someone. You don't know. They've kind of snuck up on each other, ambushed each other, but they think that, rebels think they've ambushed the Empire and vice versa. So we're just seeing the actual battle of that, and it's the entire rebel fleet against, I always forget what this woman's name is, but she was mentored by Tarkin, and this ship is called the Tarkin's Will. And essentially, why I want to talk about it and why I think it's so dark is she wipes out a ton of the rebel fleet, and this woman is just brilliant. And she shuts the engines off and plummets, does some stuff to get the rebels to blow up their own ships, and then because they have their engines off, they're going straight down to the ground, and then just as they get to the ground, they turn their engines on, and there's a rebel encampment down there, and just incinerates the whole camp with their engines. Just completely roasts them alive, and you see it, they show it. It's crazy. I couldn't believe what I saw. They're coming towards the end of the Crimson Reign stuff. Crimson Reign has one more issue next month, or the end of this month. So that'll be nice, and it's nice to see Star Wars is getting back on track with the stories they left, almost a year ago now, it seems. And then ObiWan. Of course, ObiWan's getting a show. We got another little trailer for it today. They showed off a bit more stuff, and yeah, not too much to talk about for the show-wise. However, the book is really nice. It's taking place, the, I guess, modern period of it, when he's old Ben Kenobi, is taking place just a little bit before Episode 4, before he finds Luke in the desert there. And there's a sandstorm, and he's writing down the journals, some of which we actually see in that Jason Aaron Star Wars run. And this issue, it's all right. It's just consists, like I said, the beginning portion, he's writing in this journal, he's recalling some things, and in this one he's actually a Padawan, back on Coruscant in the Jedi Temple. And I don't know, and it could just be my ignorance of not watching the Clone Wars, because I've not gotten around to it. But you do find out some stuff about the like the Padawans, and they live in what's called clans. So they sort of have like a familial group, and there's different sections of them. I thought that was kind of interesting. We got a bunch of covers. We got that one up front there, number 1, cover A, I guess. Really good cover on that one. This is, I originally thought it was cover B, but I think the Momoko was cover B, and I cannot stand that one. I don't mind Momoko, but that one I can't stand. This is the Gist cover. Gist or Geist. really nice one. And then I also picked up I believe this is the 1 in 10, which is just the live action McGregor version. A ton of exclusives for this. I don't think Dean at Peg City had one. Maybe he did. I can't remember. Because I saw one not too long ago, and I don't know if it was Peg City or if it was Mutant Beaver. But yeah, that is those. Look at that. You glad we got Star Wars out of the way first?
Yes, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know. That's the most I've talked all day. Oh, that's not the right one. There we are. Let's go on to Marvel. Spider-Man 2099 Exodus. And
Alpha as well. That was a long title. So you got Steve Orlando doing the writing and Paul Fry doing the art here. Really like the art, nice and sharp. It's continuing on in the 2099 universe. You know, Miguel O'Hara is the Spider-Man of the future.
Mm-hmm.
It still takes place. It's still all the stuff that's happened to him in the recent couple of years, the time traveling stuff still all takes place in there too. But now you're hearing a lot more about this cabal who seems to kind of taken over everything. They do what they want, and nobody can kind of stop them in that. It's almost like they've overthrown the government in that, and to become a member of it is like becoming a member of the elite. Miguel and Ghost Rider 2099. You got to get a few different characters from the future going to be showing up in here, but you got Ghost Rider 2099 showing up and working with Miguel on this, and they find out who the leader is of this cabal, which was they didn't know for the longest time. And I won't say who it is, but it's not surprising when you do find out who it is. They kind of hint at it and everything, and the Spidey villains and all that. But I like the Spider-Man 29 characters, so we'll see where it goes there. I did hear there's, like I said, going to be a few other cameos with some other 2099 characters, and even the introduction of a few new ones. So we'll see what happens there. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes. It's no worse than the Batman Beyond series that's going on right now. Same type of thing. So we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, the 2099 universe is one that keeps popping up. At least once a year they get some kind of thing, because they had a 2099 Alpha and Omega a few years ago.
Yeah, this is going to cross over in the summer. I don't know if it's going to cross over into the other Spider-Man titles or just be like a Spider-Man 2099 event.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because as you said, this is Exodus Alpha, so then I guess there'll be limited series for it, and then they'll have the Omega at the end like they usually do as well. But it's all right if you like Spider-Man 29 and you just want to kind of jump into something a little bit. I would check it out for sure.
Mm-hmm. And there's also a 2099 Omnibus coming out later this year as well.
Yeah, I think I have pre-ordered that already, or got it on like kind of order type of thing. I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
November, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely later on in the fall. Yeah. That's all we got for Marvel. Did you cover that Thunderbirds one or no? No. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So on to DC then. We've got Flashpoint Beyond, and it's number 1 of 6. That's all I know of it.
Yeah, you got Thomas Wayne. He's chasing that new character, the Clockwork Killer. Mm-hmm. He's kind of going through the time stream, and that seems to maybe be a speedster in that, but also have like the ability to like manipulate time. He's kind of followed them to like that land of with like a New Europe over there, where Aquaman is like he's kind of a mad king. He's always at war at the surface, and he shows up there and breaks into the fortress, kind of infiltrates it, and then kind of goes as he gets in there, kind of goes to war. Starts trying to track this guy down and everything and that. So it keeps going on in the story there. Towards the end of this issue, you start to be in our timeline where Barry, the Flash, kind of has feels that Thomas Wayne's like disrupting the Speed Force or trying to call upon the Speed Force again to change time and that. So he's talking to Batman about that a little bit too. So now we know that they're involved. So it's going to get bigger now into like more of that Flashpoint event. But nothing really happened too much in this one. just slowly building that. You do see some of the other characters, like you said, you see an Aquaman, you see a Wonder Woman in that. It builds on those characters, but again, these aren't the characters that we know. They're that version or that multiverses version of them. So I didn't care for it as much as I cared. I enjoyed the one we covered last week, the alpha or the beginning of it. So.
Right. Yeah. I've never cared too much for Flashpoint. The animated movie, it was all right and I enjoyed, but it's never been something too big
Yeah, I don't
that
like
I've
the
cared
whole
about.
Thomas Wayne stuff.
I guess one thing that we could point out too, and it is this week, is Free Comic Book Day this Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
I believe that there's a Justice League Dark Crisis Free Comic Book Day issue.
Yeah, I saw there is, I think, as well. There's quite a few issues this year.
Yes, there is. Another thing for DC, we'd covered the Superman and Lois issue, and we covered the Batwoman issue. And now they're doing this week the Legends of Tomorrow. Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman were canceled just this past week, the shows. So kind of funny that is releasing this week, considering that they have just canceled it. But they've canceled quite a few things over there. The Wonder Twins film that was in development, that got axed. They literally just announced the cast for it, or who the Wonder Twins were, Sam and Jaina.
That's because they got that the new ownership has taken over there now. So
you got
old X-ray specs.
Yeah.
That's okay. I got my Doctor Strange shirt on that for some other reason. It's so dark always looking. It looks like he's Puerto Rican Doctor Strange. So. All right, back to the book.
Yep. And that is it for DC. Yes.
Yeah, there's a ton of indie books this week, like a ton.
There are. That's why I wanted to get through the Star Wars and everything early, because there's a ton of indie, and some that people have been waiting for quite a while. I wanted to save time for those.
Sure.
So we've got some indies that aren't quite indies, but we still consider them indies. First up is Ninja Turtles 128.
From IDW.
You got Frank and Jenica on the cover there.
Yeah, you got Sophie Campbell doing the writing, and what's his name again? Pablo Tunica doing the art. And you always have Kevin Eastman doing the consulting in the background there as well, too. He still has his say on that, too. But we find out the origin of Venus and in this issue, and it's weird and messed up. What it is Venus is not actually a turtle. She's actually one of the punk frog members that the turtles have been kind of scrapping with lately. But the scientist guy took her, found her in a battle or something like that, and she was wounded and brought her back, and he's been slowly transforming her and piecing her together to become like a turtle. And she tells Donatello that he's doing this so she can be like a copy or a clone and infiltrate the turtle. So
that's kind of what Gargamel did with Smurfette.
Yeah, kind of. So it turns out that they realized that this doctor has been doing this for somebody else. So it's all like a dark plan type of thing. Very, very dark the way they see it. And that it's just really
even the cover. Like when I looked at it, just a glance on the shelf, I thought it was like a robot or something until I did a double take on it.
Well,
and it's kind of actually kind of eerie.
Not quite a robot, but she's just hooked up to all this stuff, and like these body parts are, like farmed and pieced together, and like Frankenstein. So I mean, it's kind of weird, but she's conscious the whole time. She can talk to Donatello like telepathically. So they're talking about telling like what's going on, the true story, and that. So
that's her frog DNA that allows her to talk telepathically, because lots of frogs can do that.
At the top of the picture there, you see that red type of ruby thing. That's a dragon scale. and they've had these dragon scales in the story for the last little while or whatever, and these kind of like in the Shang-Chi movie, those dragon
Yep.
scales have like all kinds of powers and stuff, energies. This does the same thing. It's what's powering her, and it has like given her like the ability to do that as well too. So yeah, I like it. It's pretty creepy. It's neat. I'm glad it wasn't just. It's not what I thought it would be at all. Like I thought it would just be like some clone turtles, and then they put in like a
It's a
memory.
good way to bring this character back, but into the main continuity.
Yeah, the fact that she was a frog and she's being turned into a turtle, so
Yeah.
she can be an infiltrator. Like that's really different. So
hmm I find the turtles, especially in recent years, they're not doing stuff just to say, "Look what we're doing." Everything they've done has had good purpose, except like when they introduced Jenica, and then when she became a turtle. Like it
yeah.
all it's felt earned. It's felt like it's not a waste of
They have
storytelling.
spent a lot of time growing that universe, and it's a big universe. There's lots of different mutant characters in there now, and they all have different, totally different characters in that stories, and it's not like the stories don't even involve the turtles sometimes.
Mhm.
That's how strong that universe is. That's branched out. So I like
I'm
this
waiting for
so
the
far.
turtles to cross over with Usagi again.
hmm Yeah, all the crossovers for turtles are pretty good usually.
Yeah. Um. Okay, and then on to our next big indies, but not indies, but still indies, is Image Comics. People have been waiting on this one for a long time, and with good reason. They've got a great team behind it. That's Twig.
Yeah.
We got Scotty Young working on it, famous for well, tons of stuff. Really, he's a huge artist for Marvel. Does all their, I don't know if they call them babies anymore, but his babies covers. Um, and then, of course, writer of Strange Academy and among other things. And now he's on this.
Yeah, he's writing it. You got Kyle Strahan doing the art. The art is truly amazing in here.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It
Yeah,
reminds me of a game. Microsoft. I don't know if it's their actual studio that produces it, but it's called Ori and the Blind Forest. Um, and it's just beautiful, beautiful artwork. And this reminds me so much of that. Even kind of like Rayman, like the weird, uh,
yeah.
like
It makes me
lifelike
think of like
world.
it makes me think of things like
Avatar, even
Muppets
just the
or like
colors.
Muppets, like a Cookie Monster type of character.
Yeah, like the Dark Crystal. If the Dark Crystal weren't evil
Yeah,
and warped.
yeah. Or in Canada they had these things called like the Barbapapas that were kind of like these amoeba type things that kind of has that, but the coloring amazing. Story's nothing too special so far. It's kind of like Kanto. The little creature has to go on a bigger adventure
And
type
I
of
think
thing.
that's what people were sort of expecting from this was to be Kanto-like,
Yeah, for sure.
and that
But
that
yeah,
that took off.
yeah,
Kanto's doing really well.
yeah. And there's lots of interesting new kind of creatures in here. Lots of funny little creatures. Each one's got its own little kind of funny personality. So yeah, this is a good start. I like this book. I'll keep reading it. It's exact. It did what it said it was going to do.
hmm And they had a preview out for this. I think it was a con exclusive, or I think maybe it was a one per store even.
Yeah, it was like
And that was I think 2 years ago, 2020 that they did it. I think.
yeah. And again, it got pushed back because of COVID and everything too. So, but yeah, it was highly anticipated. That's why there's so many exclusives for this one.
Oh yeah, there's tons. I've got two coming. One based off Calvin and Hobbes, and I think the other one is based off of the box art for the original Mario.
And I wanted one that Dean had from Peg City was Cookie Monster.
Oh, that's right. He had a third one.
Yeah.
Right, I forgot about that. The other two I have are also coming from Dean. Next we've got from Vault, and I was saying just before the show that I tend to just really like all of Vault stuff, and without realizing, because it doesn't say right on their Vault, they kind of hide it in the wood grain of the sign. But I really enjoyed it, and it's called Quests Aside. Quests Aside.
Yeah. That's the name of the tavern in here as well too.
Yes.
So
It's been a great. It's been a nice art. Definitely just like you walk into a town in Dungeons and Dragons, and you find it any old tavern.
Yeah, it's pretty much like that. It's kind of made me think of like Schitt's Creek and like a D&D setting. You got
Cheers.
Elena Gogu doing the art on here, and the art's really nice and clean, and
It is.
yeah, it makes me think of like a storybook art. And then you got Brian Schreimer doing the story. And what it is, it's a fun tale in like a D&D type world, fantasy type world, where a king plans to take over the Quest Aside, which is like the local tavern.
Mhm.
And the king was at one time was like the travel bandmate with the guy that owns the tavern there. So he was like part of his party at one point, kind of like Ned Stark was to the first king there in the first season of Game of Thrones. And he wants to take the bar over to turn it into like a new barracks for this over-expanding army. And he says, no, I'm not going to let you, I don't want you to do that. He's like, well, I'm going to give you a month, and then we're going to come and take it in that. So now that the bar and its staff, which have a bunch of, I wouldn't say weirdos in there, but, your average staff that works in a place, except it's D&D style. So the bartender is like a skeleton. And then you got, I forget what the waitress, who's his girlfriend, I forget what she is, but I think she's like an elf or troll or something. I can't remember. Yeah, but it's all just kind of fun. It should have some, interesting stuff in it when the conflict starts happening and that. But the whole town, like I said, is full of gnomes and people you'd expect to see like in a village or a town from a D&D setting. But yeah, it's kind of funny. They all just kind of walk around like a normal, like I said, Schitt's Creek type of town. So it's kind of funny to see them interact, and they know each other's personalities and habits and that. So, but again, having like magical properties and them being monsters and that. So kind of funny that way too. So we'll see what happens there. Just a fun book.
Yeah, and while we're talking about Vault, I was doing my bi-weekly deep dive onto League of Geeks, going way into the future there, making sure I have stuff pulled, seeing what's coming up. And we knew there was a one-shot coming up for, I forgot the name of it now, Barbaric. And in one of the final weeks where they're showing stuff, they do finally have the second run, I guess, volume 2 of Barbaric listed there now. It's called, I believe it's called An Axe to Grind.
That's cool.
Yeah, I forgot to bring that up because I know that was one of Vault's for sure, but one of the biggest comics of last year. Definitely Vault's largest one of the year.
Yeah, we like that one a lot.
Next up, we've got a book from Aftershock. They're okay, I guess. We don't talk about them too much. That's Dogs of London. Wicked cover on this.
Yeah, this one is neat because when you see the cover, you realize, you think that maybe it's like that John, or not John.
Good Boy.
John, yeah, Good Boy that's been out lately where the dog was like the assassin and that. But it's not. They're just known as the Dogs of London. That's their gang name. And what it is, it starts off in the 60s, and it's 1966, and these are London mobsters, and they're called the Dogs of London. And they're a brutal gang. They're just super, I don't even want to say intense, but they're just like, they have no problem being like, just being horrible, like the most vicious type of gangsters out there. And then it jumps forward to 2020, and you see some of them now. They're older, and now they've become things like one's was being knighted, and then his wife you recognize as one of the strippers that used to hang out at the old club that they ran, and that. So you don't really know
it's Sopranos.
Yeah, so you don't really know how they've come into power in that. But you also earlier in the story you see that the gang has killed some people and buried them in a place, and now as this is going on, as he's being coronated or knighted, and they're celebrating all this, the bodies have been discovered. But it kind of says that the bodies, and it's been like 50 years or 40 years, it kind of says like the bodies haven't aged, or if they found them, they were maybe alive. And I read it a few times, and I thought maybe I just misread it because it's like an English, written, European English. And I thought, well, that can't be it. Maybe I'm just misunderstanding it. But either way, it's a neat story because now this is all being dragged up, and it might turn come back and bite them in the ass type of thing. But when I saw a different review, they said that same thing too, and it said it kind of had a supernatural feel to it. So maybe these things are alive, or coming up, and now not only are they going to be like telling secrets, but maybe they're coming back like haunted or possessed or something. Who knows? But and maybe these
Well,
people would
this
get turned
cover,
into dogs.
and
Like,
I think I've seen other covers for it as well, do give me sort of like a cult vibe.
yeah,
So there could be some kind of ritualistic, killings that have happened.
yeah. I don't know. So it took a little bit of a weird, just in the last panel or so, it took a little bit of weird turn. But I was still enjoying this book anyways because I like crime pieces. I like
Period
period
pieces.
pieces there too. So it was perfect for all that. So I was enjoying, and it's Aftershock, which I love. Peter Milligan is a great writer, and the art is by Art Sedia. And again, I really like the art in here. It was very it made you feel like you were reading a European mobster type of book. Very graphic, kind of dirty, scruffy feeling. It was interesting.
Interesting. Well, I mean, I didn't read this and I wouldn't read it, but I know you were excited for this one. And we'll jump over to Dynamite now with not Red Sonja, but from the Red Sonja universe, Red Sitha.
Yeah, from the Red Sonja universe, that's been going on now for about a little less than a year by Mirka and Dolfo. And it's kind of, in that universe, the Red Sonja has kind of taken on a ward, or kind of adopted a young girl who is a redhead like her as well. But she's young. She's like 12 or so. And it turns out she has some pyrokinetic capabilities. But that's what's going on in that Red Sonja book. What's going on in this one is Red Sitha is she's an adult now, and seems to be out on her own, doing her own kind of adventuring and that, and it's just a story about her doing it. So you still get your fantasy kind of stuff, your Red kind of Sonja feel to it, but it's of her. It's a little bit more raunchy. She says and does stuff that just she doesn't really care. She seems to like just get drunk and fight and fool around with men or women. And then she, does the usual like bounty hunter type stuff, or adventure type stuff. So kind of fun there. We'll see what kind of, I don't know if this story is going to turn into like just like a one story arc, or if it's going to turn into like a series type of thing. But it was fun. If anybody likes those Red Sonja stuff and just wants to see like a similar type of character, but again a little bit different, check it out. Because like I said, she's pyrokinetic, so. She does her fighting, and then she has the ability to fire as well. So
yeah, so it's interesting because we've got sort of 3 eras of Red Sonja going on right now, with Red Sonja Immortal when she's a bit younger. I don't know how young, but she's definitely younger. And then the mainline Red Sonja, and then this, which is in the future.
Yeah, and there's also that Sonja Versal going on, which is kind of like.
Is that still going on?
Yeah, that's an ongoing series.
Oh.
People really like that series, and they get spin-off characters from that too, like Hell Sonja and that. Yep. And I saw in the summer there's a neat one coming out, Samurai Sonja, which again it's kind of like all the stuff that we complain about with like the Batmans and the Spidermans and the Gwens and stuff. There's like a billion of them. They're all just slightly changed, but for some reason those ones seem to be okay. But whatever, maybe it's because they're just newer. We haven't gotten tired of them yet.
Yeah. I don't know. Same argument could be made that Image is doing that with Spawn, and they created a whole bunch of Spawns.
Oh yeah, same
Gunslinger
thing.
Spawn, King Spawn, all at once, and those were to me. I know some people have really liked Gunslinger Spawn. Next we've got again. This is a book that feels like forever now. From Black Caravan. That's Swamp Dogs, House of Crows, number 3.
Yeah. This is the origin issue.
Yeah, this is the issue. For anyone that watched the interview, or I think there might have even been 2 interviews with one of the writers, J.M. Brandt, he said this is the issue. If you're picking up any of them, and pick up this issue. That was the actual co-writer's advice. How'd you like it?
I liked it. It had, like you said, it's from J.M. Brandt and Theo Paradis doing the writing, and then you got Huber Ball doing the art. And the art in here I really liked a lot. It's just
Hmm.
it just
It's very unique art inside. Yeah.
yeah, and that the art on the cover there is done by him, I'm pretty sure. And like I said, this is the special origin issue. It tells you what the swamp dogs are, and we kind of knew what they were already, but it dives into a little bit more. We get more details about each of the actual characters, how they were formed, and history of just the area itself.
Hmm.
So you get the brutal and terrifying backstory of the Civil War Party, which was called the War of Swamp Dogs, and they tortured and killed anybody that came across them in the path of the party.
Hmm.
And they were kind of put together from this one general who was like a super badass and got everything. It didn't matter what happened; he got everything done. It didn't matter the cost. So the South ends up hiring him kind of do like a black bag operation where he gets to pick his own team and spends like a year or two just going up and down the river where the civil the North would be delivering their supplies and just kind of killing and sabotaging and raping and everything, just doing whatever they want to, right?
Hmm.
And then you see that they end up taking shelter in this one kind of plantation place, and after a little while of like kind of getting nonstop torturing and raping and just letting them do whatever they want, the people there, the inhabitants, kind of stand up and kind of slaughter everybody and see how everything gets cursed, and the island there becomes like haunted type of thing. So it goes into that some more too. We get a little bit more update on the current situation going on with the band and how they want to film this video apparently out there. So we still see that going on. But yeah, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, and again, for those that hadn't seen the interview, a few of the things that JM had said, I do see really tying into this. Like you said, they have the idea for a couple of spin-offs, and he hinted at one being more of a period piece, like focusing on older characters. And if I'm not mistaken, this is probably why he's saying this is such a huge issue, is because this expands the wider Swamp Dogs mythos and
Yeah.
those characters. So yeah, he was right that this issue so far has been probably one of the more important ones for the run. I
Yeah,
think they're coming out regularly now too.
Yeah, no more hold up.
Yeah, which is nice. Next up is, I can't even read the name of the company on it. But you have it over there, I'm sure. Actually, I have the book right here. I could look too. It's Mezzo or Mezzo.
It's AWBW, and I think it's a Wave Blue World. Is that what it's called?
A Wave Blue World, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, it's Mizo 2, which is I didn't realize it's the second volume in this story, so I don't know if the first one maybe was a Kickstarter or what. But it's called Battle at Corbin Rock, and it's written by Tyler Chin Tanner, and Val Rodriguez does the art. And I picked it up just because it was really neat looking. I'd never heard of the company at all. So I said, well, that's perfect because that's the kind of stuff we like to point out. Mm-hmm. Awesome color and artwork.
Yeah. The lots of stuff was just like recommended to us this week, even. Like while we were at 204 picking things up, I actually said, "Oh yeah, try this and try this." Like lots of stuff. Like we didn't have a huge list this week, but after we went there, I think we must have had about 6 extra books added to our list.
Yeah, because he had some new stuff there that I hadn't seen, or he just wasn't. It was just smaller press stuff. Like I said, awesome color and artwork. What it has, it's like this Aztec-like feel going on. Their tribes like in a kind of a savage world type land, and they're fighting over religious beliefs and devastations that's happened to their world and to their lives by an eclipse. And there's another eclipse coming, and they're all trying to. There's like a celestial sea that they're all trying to fight over to get pieces to. And whoever has it will become the most powerful in that. So really, really neat. You don't have to know the first volume to understand it. There is a bit of a recap there in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But anybody who likes that tribal stuff or Aztec type of things, really neat there. I really kind of quite enjoyed it. especially for a book I wasn't expecting at all. So again, I didn't really give too much of a explanation about it. But that's what it is, though. Like I said, it kind of has like this Aztec tribal feel to it, where they kind of live in this savage type land where they have like some dinosaurs and wild creatures, and they're fighting over who's the ruler and which god to pray to. And again, if they don't get this all figured out by the next eclipse, more death and destruction will happen. So
Yeah. And it's been mentioned to me, well, both of us before, that like with these smaller publishers, and especially like we have a couple more that are a bit. Actually, I think the remaining ones are a bit smaller publishers.
everyone is, yeah.
People are actually prefer us not to give a whole huge like review of these smaller ones. They just like to have them pointed out whether they're good or not, and they end up picking them up. I can't remember who it was, but we were just talking to them at the con the last weekend there, and they had mentioned that like they appreciate that we cover these, but we don't go as far as to review the entire book and to spoil it, because it gives them enough just to be intrigued by it,
Right.
and not think that they've heard the whole story and miss it.
Yeah, I had somebody else message me this week too, saying someone that bought something from us. I believe it was Sam. I saw him in the room here tonight. Sam.
Yep.
And he said that he bought not only his first slab from us, which he was super happy about, but all the books that we talk about and review on the show, he ends up going to his LCS after and checking out, just because he finds them so interesting, and he never would have known about them without us. So I said, well, that's what the show is all about. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the reason we cover more indies, and we try to stay away from the bigger guys like your Image and that. We like to cover these smaller ones for sure, because that's so many of the great stories are there, and lots of the big writers go to these smaller ones now.
And that's where we sell stuff from, and we support those guys, and we have so many friends, and I say friends of the channel, but even some of them I refer to them as family nowadays, that are they work in that community. So they do bigger stuff too. Like we know Mike and Maria and that have gotten covers for the big big two and that. But
yeah, Mike's got his Doge book there on Kickstarter. I think it's almost done.
Dodge.
Is it? Oh, Dodge. I always say Doge.
It's done now. It's ended. Yeah.
It just ended. Yeah.
They all have stuff going all the time. So it's great. Actually, that's one book we didn't cover today, but it did come out. Was number 2 of Mike's book of Project Superpowers.
Okay. Next, from American Mythology. I always think it's press, but it's productions.
Yeah, I always think it's press too.
The Grunch.
Like this company.
And really like I think they missed the opportunity here to do a cover, make it look like Jim Carrey's The Grinch. They could have done the cover to make it look like that, and I mean, I'm a huge fan of that movie. I could watch it on repeat any time of the year. But yeah, I thought it was a little. I was disappointed when I saw they didn't have one that looked like that.
Well, these grunge characters, to me,
they're like Krampus.
They're about the size of gremlins or critters. They kind of have that feel to it, but they look like if anyone's ever watched the real Ghostbusters cartoons, like one of the first episodes, they have the boogeyman. That big boogeyman head. That's what these things look like. And like I was saying there, we've liked a lot of these American Mythology Productions books.
This is another publisher that we've actually covered most, if not all, of their books since we've started.
Yeah, I have another one right after this, actually. So what this one is, it's written by Sawcheck and James Cork. And then on art, you have Claudio Avella doing the art. And it's his art there on the cover. And this is really fun, horrific, sharp lines, detail, bright colors, but lots of shadowing where it needs it. And it's kind of funny because what it is you got a douchebag guy. He kind of convinces this team of other millennial douchebags to travel to New Orleans to capture a grunge. And what a grunge is, it's like an urban myth type of thing of it's like a gremlin or a critter type of thing, or
they're like urban legends, like they're cryptids.
Yeah, as I said, urban legends. And he's going down there to capture one. and like this cryptid type thing. So, and they're gonna film it all for like a streaming channel, and they're gonna get rich of this. And so they go down there, and this guy has like he has no idea what's going on. They basically just show up with like a video camera, and he's like, they're such douchebags. They get tricked into like these people down there. They think they're going down there that they're going to get help from these people to capture these grunge characters, but they're actually like worshippers to these grunge characters. And yeah, these grunge characters are just like bloodthirsty little creatures that just want to eat people and that. And after Hurricane Katrina, all their kind of feeding areas expanded because everything was just kind of got destroyed and distorted during that. So now they're expanding past the swamps of New Orleans, and there's going to be another issue there. We'll see what happens. But it's kind of funny. Again, if anyone's ever watched the Critters movies or Gremlins or Ghoulies, it totally has that feel to it. Super fun 80s stuff.
So we just moved on from Swamp Dogs. However, I just got a notification on my phone. So, breaking news. J.M. Brandt just made a post on Instagram referencing one that he had made earlier in the day. There's an error in the new issue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I literally just looked at my phone and I saw it.
What is it?
This panel here, there's no writing or anything in it.
Yeah.
However, he said, be sure to check out my Instagram for the corrected panels. And there's actually a couple missing. So it's a little bright. Let me turn it, see if it's a little better. In this box up top, it's actually, and in the panel above, there's supposed to be one about there too. And there is not.
Well, you'll have to post that on the site after for everybody.
There's actually, there's quite a few that are missing from this page, and he said it's just page 19. That's interesting.
You'll have to put that in the comments for everybody to see after.
Interesting. But yeah, I thought I saw J.M. Brandt tagged so and so in a post, and I thought, well, that's weird. I just said his name. My phone's listening to me again.
Well, we all know that. Breaking news.
But yeah, breaking news.
Well, we're going to have him on the show again pretty soon, and we'll ask him.
I think once the final issue drops, we'll have him back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have the cover for this next one, but I have the book next to me. And that's still from American Mythology.
Oh, the Kent Menace?
Yes, Kent Menace.
It has a neat cover.
It is a really neat cover, and I thought I had it, but it might have been the wrong format and didn't get pulled over into OBS.
It could be. I didn't know about this one either. I knew about the Grunch one coming up, but I didn't know about this one. And again, from American Mythology.
Yep.
So, and again, here, this is a collection of stories and art, and I didn't know that going in either. And so there's multiple writers and multiple artists. But it's all about that character who is currently named Kent Menace, and that's the guy who was on the cover there. He's kind of like a Flash Gordon, Doc Savage, Cthulhu fighter type of person. And that's what this book is. It has a few stories in there. Some of them are like novella type, where it's all just words and just a few pictures. Then you got a couple that are just one-page stories. You got another one that is a few different stories in there, just different art, different stories. And then you get a couple things at the end where, again, just some more character like designs, a little bit more backstory in that. So I don't know if this was if this is an established character I've just never heard of before, or if it's something they're trying to turn into an established character.
So many of these books, and there's even some from like notable publishers. I forget what it was we covered. We Have Demons. They're either Comixology or they're just fan funded through Indiegogo, GoFundMe, Kickstarter, any of those. And they end up in those kind of formats. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a web series first.
I'm not sure, but like you said, some of the stuff is just one-page art now. So I don't know if it was like I said, I don't know. Maybe it was someone that just made this character and now it's all been kind of put out and now it's like a collected series of it to introduce it to the masses. I don't know. But I did enjoy it because I like, Cthulhu type stuff and monsters and monster fighting. So I enjoyed that. And again, it has that Flash Gordon, Doc Savage type of feel. So.
Yeah. Next up, we have One Night in Prague.
That was a neat book too.
I don't know if we've covered from these guys before. I recognize the name.
Yeah, we have. We've covered some stuff. I don't remember what it was, but we've covered. That's Keen Spot, right?
Keen Spot, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I want to point out, and it's something that we complain about on the big two, not so much Image Comics, but definitely the big two, Marvel and DC. The price. It's a $5 book. Yeah, it is. I have it up there, and I'll show you there too. It's a $5 book.
Oh, I didn't wrong corner.
However, like we've said before, Marvel and DC stuff, we have a hard time paying that, especially when they're using worse paper than they were in the 60s. Might as well be Kleenex. However, with it being an indie comic, I didn't even bat an eyelash, and I don't think you did either, so you didn't even notice.
I thought it was $3.99.
I mean, yeah, whatever, it's $1, who cares? But, like we had said in previous weeks, when it comes to indie comics, we don't really care if we're paying that extra $1 or $2, whatever, for the same size, because A, it's an indie comic, and, they'll need that little bit more, that's fine. But the quality is also better, and like you said, you really enjoyed this one.
I did enjoy this one. One Night in Prague, and it's from Keen Spot, and you got Konstantin Werner doing the writing, and then you got Todd Galusha doing the. It could be Tad. I can't remember. I can't read my notes. Tad or Todd Galusha doing the art. And what it is here is you got this musical prodigy type of guy who loses 3 fingers and gets horribly scarred in an accident, just as he's about to test to get into this prestigious academy or recording studio type of thing. And then he jumps forward a little bit and he's dealing with this, and he finds out that these cat people can cure him and his fingers in that if he goes and rescues their princess. So in here there's these cat people. And there's some dog people, and the dog people have captured the princess, so he goes to rescue her, and he does rescue her, and he gets his fingers back, and now he's gonna be at work alongside with these people to kind of free tyranny, the world from tyranny from these dog people and that. So I really quite enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect of it. I didn't even realize she was a cat until I started reading it. I didn't realize on the cover there that it was a tail.
I didn't realize till you said she was a cat. I thought it was some wispies.
The title was One Night in Prague, and I saw they had swords and stuff, so I just figured it was some kind of fantasy or a knight's tale type of thing. And I didn't realize she was a cat person, because without that tail you wouldn't really know that. But yeah. So it's kind of neat. It's kind of like this medieval tale with a little bit of magic and these cat people and some dog people and regular people too. So
they're inclusive.
They're keen on that spot.
Next we've got again another smaller publisher from Sex, and that is Sex with a C. Comic Experience Publishing. That's Past the Mountain, or Past the Last Mountain.
Yes, Past the Last Mountain. This is written by Paul Allure and Lovey Joyce. And this one is, again, I didn't know nothing about it, but I have read a few comics from this new company, this CEX. And this one was actually a square-bound book, which they've never done before. So I thought that was kind of cool, too.
Like we were saying for just the past one, it's a little bit pricier. This one's $5.99. But
again, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's a solid sized book. It is, like you said, it's square bound. I'm just trying to find it here.
Yeah, square bound, and that cover
is quite a bit thick.
Yeah, and the cover really drew me in there. It's some pretty amazing art.
It is.
And what it is it's an anthology of a whole new universe with these magical creatures who are at war with humans. It's pretty funny. You got some, one pages in here. You got some, some stories are starting off like that one on the main cover, which takes up a third to half of the book is the the main story. It's going to be told in like serial form and also over several issues. Same with some of the stories, and following it, they have a couple pages and they'll be kind of continued. But the other pages kind of expand on this universe. But it's really quite neat. Humans kind of have this agency or government that kind of almost like a Men in Black or X-Files type thing that they kind of take care of and kind of controlling things that's magical. Mm-hmm. So they have like areas that jails for goblins and everything like that type of thing. And the people on the cover there have kind of escaped this living environment, and they want to stay escaped. They don't want to be sent back. So they got this agency kind of chasing them now, and yeah, it's really kind of cool. So,
and the characters on the front there, like you've got a dragon. The woman looks like a fawn.
Yeah, she is a fawn actually.
Yeah, and then the guy there, the little gremlin dude or something.
Yeah, something like that. And they too, like I said, the other stories in here too just take place in that universe, and it's not like all doom and gloom. Some of the stories are funny. It's just some characters that work for them, mm-hmm. and people that work in that company, or people just live in that universe. So it's kind of fun.
I really, really like that lots of stories are being told in these fantasy worlds.
For sure.
Like that Quest aside, even though I wasn't a huge fan of it, the last session, like those, I really enjoy these sort of Dungeons and Dragons fantasy type worlds.
Or even the ones like Barbaric in that, or the...
Exactly, and that's what I say, there's different tones as well. I was recently introduced to the show on Amazon Prime from Roll for Initiative, I believe it is. It's called Vox Machina, and mm-hmm. it's about this group that plays D&D, and well, it's not about them. They have a separate show where they do that, and they've taken those characters and made a show out of it, and they actually have a couple ongoing series of comics for it as well, discussing the origins of those characters. But yeah,
and even us too. Like I'm going to be part of that one in just under a month now, on June 4th. There, mm-hmm. If I ever figure out how to run that stupid
roll 20
thing, we're going to be part of the Things Are Getting Dicey group, which is going to be a D&D group that I'm sure people can watch if they want. So.
Mm-hmm. I felt that one coming for a bit. Next up is what I believe is our final book. There might be one more after this, but I think it's the last one. It's the last one I have.
This is the last one too.
Okay. From Source Point Press.
Mm-hmm.
Buzzard Bone.
Yeah, and another Source Point Press, another one we cover almost all their books. So
mm-hmm.
we like Source Point Press. That's the one that has the Cover of Darkness.
Yeah. This cover. Yeah, like the art in particular, and I didn't flip through it. I have it on top of this pile here. Mm-hmm. It feels very familiar. The art style, kind of like a Moody and Jeff Lemire sort of combined.
Yeah, it does have like a little bit of a softness paint to it. There's a few covers for this one too, and I liked it. I didn't know about this one at all. It was pointed out to us just as Ashley was unloading it at the store.
Which is surprising, because you tend to read a lot of Source Point stuff, even if we don't cover it.
Yeah, but some stuff I just don't see. It just doesn't get brought to my attention to. So
the Source Point stuff does tend to get shuffled around quite a bit.
Sometimes. This one's Buzzard and Bone, #1. And you got Nick Philpott doing the writing and Ryan Gutierrez doing the art. You got two feuding families in the woods, kind of like the Montague and the Capulets. Mm-hmm. I'm going to sneeze too now. And, they've been fighting for long time.
I think I heard Joel just sneeze now too.
Yeah. And it's but this is in a world of magic. So two of these kids, kind of like in Romeo and Juliet, two of these kids from these warring clans have kind of fallen in love, and now they've kind of joined together, and they have to kind of join together to fight this new common threat. And again, a lot of it has to do with like some older family ties and some older history in there. So this is going to be kind of neat. It kind of has like a lot of feel like again a little combination like the Hatfield and McCoys, or Romeo and Juliet with the Capulet and the Montagues, but again more with this magic stuff. So it'll be interesting to, again, I didn't know about this one, so it was a nice surprise. I'll be ready to check out the next one for sure. I like the artwork in it too. It was kind of eerie. Almost gives you kind of like a vampire feel to it, but they're not really vampires, but they do have some like, magical properties. They're wizards, actually. What it is, and they're like feuding wizards. So there's some kind of cool with dueling wizards scene here between the two heads of family. Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it we had for books. Let's see.
Only thing
Did you have a chance to watch
that?
Moon Knight yet?
Yes, I did. I watched Moon
Yeah.
Knight this afternoon. I really enjoyed that last episode. It answered one of my questions I was wondering about, like where's the third personality from Moon Knight. I won't only say too much more else because again I don't want to spoil it because it just came out today.
Mm-hmm.
But I really liked it. I'm a little sad that there's not more episodes because I can definitely see there's way more to tell there.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of the Disney Plus stuff has had. They have a lot of extra time compared to a film, right? Essentially, how they do a trilogy, say Iron Man 1 to 3, Captain America 1 to 3, whatever. And you get about the same amount of time. You get that 6-hour-ish runtime, and they spend so much time developing these characters, but the ends always feel a little bit rushed. And it was a good ending. I'm not bashing it. I enjoyed it. I just, if there was 7 episodes or 8 episodes, maybe, I don't know. It feels like it could have done with a little bit longer. Because a lot happened in this episode. Like, genuinely, a lot happened.
Yeah, it was a good episode. I liked it. And then the only other thing I had that was really worth mentioning was the sad news late last week or early this week. I can't remember now. Everything's kind of blurred together.
I think it was later last week.
Dennis O'Neill, or Denny O'Neill. I know people say it both ways. That's a big loss, man. That's right up there with like your Stanleys and your Ditkos. Like he's pretty huge. I didn't even realize how much, because he was just around for so much. I didn't realize how much stuff that he had touched in that. He was just around for so much of it, especially DC in that. Yeah, huge loss. A lot of George Perez is getting soon will be passing as well. So I was just saying with Joel the other day, or maybe it was you, like all these people that I all their work that I grew up with and love, like even like,
well, it's the second
artists.
generation, right? All your guys like Stan and Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, they had all passed. Romita Senior, and now you have the next wave of guys like your Perez and like all them. They're older now too.
Well, even like your favorite actors and all my favorite wrestlers are passing away in that now too from
even Gilbert Gottfried there the other week. Yeah.
So I mean, it's just a little sad to seeing all these people passing away and that, but it does happen, right? So yeah, that was about it I had it was mostly books. I didn't have a whole lot for information. Support the channel. Tags. There's a tag show this weekend. I forgot to mention that. They're going to be doing some Last Ronin stuff because the book finally came out, number 5. And it was supposed to be last week, but they couldn't do it with the convention and the internet issues. So I'm sure they'll have a lot to talk about. And also because that was the Cleveland Con. So that was that's like a C2 one, I believe. So
yeah,
that's kind of cool.
That's a bigger one.
Yeah. So we'll hear about that, and like I said, the guys will be on there doing some drawing. Mike was posting about it today. He did a little preview or a warm up or whatever you want to call it, a pre-auction piece there. So that's pretty cool.
I think what Mike calls those is little scribbles.
Yeah, he was drawing stuff with the COVID test the other day.
Oh, he's the COVID test. Fishbone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So tomorrow's Doctor Strange. Like we said in the beginning, we're not going to talk about it for at least 2 weeks, which is going to be hard. I've got my Gargantos over here.
Yeah, I got my Puerto Rican Doctor Strange shirt.
This is one of the coolest Lego
I'm gonna get
figure
that commercial
things.
made this weekend, hopefully, for my Spectro. I want to start having a commercial sell some more Spectro books.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe you'll prove me wrong. I don't know.
I think.
Oh, what have I done? I pushed the wrong button here. Oh, going backwards, flipping screens like crazy. There we are. I think that's it.
That is it.
Cool. Go home.
All right. Check us out on our platforms. Over the next few days, like I said, I'm gonna put up some stuff for the Spectro. Follow it. I'm sure it'll be pretty funny. I'm gonna make a fool of myself as always. Me being a fool is your game. So.
Yeah. That's the end of the show. Go home. Why are you still here? We're just rambling.
Go get your doctor's note.
See you, everybody.
Bye.